Have you ever had an argument with someone that was so irritating that you physically started tearing up from the frustration and started crying from the emotional overload? Well, I have, so I definitely know you have. I was finally in a confrontation with the person who had been passive-aggressive towards me for so long. They just kept picking at me, and when someone disrespects me, I can sense it, even when they try to be sly about it, when they try to be low-key about the shadiness. My nose starts twitching, my heart starts beating faster. They're not talking to me. Surely not, I thought to myself. Sweat literally collected in my armpits from the anxiety of having a confrontation with a frenemy. This was during a time where I didn't know as much as I do now. I had a low sense of self-esteem and I struggled with managing my emotions. I lacked confidence when I attempted to assert myself. I'm not the type of person who will let themselves be talked down to or disrespected, but I'm also not a nasty person, so I tried to address the situation amicably. My opponent wasn't backing down though, and it was becoming clear that they wanted to embarrass me. It was turning into a heated argument as the two of us repeatedly went back and forth. To make matters worse, a crowd had started to form. At that point, it started to feel like a humiliation ritual. I mean, we'd been arguing for the entertainment of the audience that had now fully surrounded us. I began to cry from the sheer frustration running through my body. My rival, pointing it out, said, "Wow, this girl is actually crying," mockingly. "Yes, I cry when I'm frustrated," I admitted, surprisingly lifting the tension in the air, though not by much. But I'd be lying if I said this was the last time I felt like I'd been humiliated in front of an audience of people. And it's because of my many encounters with people being unnecessarily cruel, nasty, and just plain rude towards me that I can bring you this video. So hey, a win is a win. Today, I'm gonna give you a step-by-step guide on how to handle disrespect from anyone, whether that be your friends, coworkers, family, etc. I'll tell you the real way to avoid crying out of frustration or succumbing to your anger and making comments that don't reflect your true character. At the end of the video, I'll explain the key component you must know in order to walk away from a confrontation looking like an angel to everyone watching or involved. So make sure you keep watching until the end for the best part of the video. Welcome back to the Mogul Manifesto. On this channel, we analyze the most famous characters, public figures, and moments in history, and dive into the truth, the psychology, and principles of power. So let's get into the video. The first step to handling disrespect should start before a confrontation even begins, and that's to prepare. And what you're preparing for is a potential confrontation. Now, I don't mean you have to start tying your hair back and taking out your earrings. I mean that you should be aware of the tension within your relationships. Who have you been on rough terms with? Who are you really close with? Who might feel offended by any of your actions? Being mindful about your connections helps. So that way, when that person does say something disrespectful towards you, you won't be taken off guard because you've already anticipated they would say something like that. And now it's much easier to do the next step, which is to take a deep breath and remember not to take anything this person is about to say personally. The key is to think as rationally as possible while controlling your emotional state. You want to remove yourself emotionally as much as possible before the confrontation begins. Detach yourself any way you know how. Think about online shopping or your dream apartment, or simply take a deep breath. Next, when someone starts an argument with you directly, or starts one indirectly by being disrespectful to you, the first thing you need to remember is that the only thing you can control is your response and reaction, and controlling yourself has now become your main mission. You want to stay quiet and let them finish their sentence or point. It's important to note that you should never interrupt someone. It will ruin your credibility in a conversation. Let them finish, and once they've done so, don't respond right away. You could even stare at them a bit. You want to make them feel stupid, like their emotional ordeal isn't actually that deep and they're doing too much now. This looks like taking your sweet time with your response. The key is to listen to what they've said and select the sense from the nonsense. Try to pinpoint the root motive for their disrespect. Did you do something to offend them? Are they upset with you? Maybe they're just jealous and you are subconsciously triggering something inside them. Most often, the thing being triggered is insecurities. When you decide to respond, talk slowly. Remember, this individual is throwing a tantrum, and you are the much smarter and wiser individual. This person is the least of your worries right now. At the same time, every sentence you say should match your end goal for this conversation. Do you want to end this quickly and walk away? Do you want to see them sweat a little bit for trying to disrespect you? Whichever you decide, be very direct and intentional about this in your speech. A good way to make someone feel stupid in a confrontation is to repeat their own sentences back to them and subtly mock them. You can also highlight the difference between the two of you. If you believe you are leagues ahead of this other person in personality and character, then respond as such. Something like, "You think what about me? I expect nothing less from someone like you." Or, "Only someone like you would say something like that." The person will sense there's something they're missing, a certain etiquette everyone else possesses that they were never taught. So how do you really handle disrespect in a way that makes you completely blameless and makes you look like the victim? Well, you want to highlight their bad behavior by contrasting it against your flawless and calm demeanor. This forces them to realize they look foolish while you remain entirely blameless. The helpful clarification technique forces them to explain their disrespect. Bad behavior looks incredibly foolish when it has to be repeated or explained logically. Act genuinely confused and entirely helpful. "I think I missed the point of that. Could you explain how that relates to what we are discussing?" They have to either repeat a rude comment, making them look twice as bad, or back down and look like a coward. The concerned check-in technique says to reframe their disrespect as a personal problem or emotional outburst on their part while you play the empathetic bystander. So, like I mentioned earlier, treat their rudeness as a sign that they are having an off day and struggling to cope with it. Imply that they must be feeling ill if they have the audacity to disrespect you. Something like, "You seem incredibly off. Is everything okay? Do you need to take a quick break to reset?" It unconsciously labels them as emotional and out of control, while you look like a caring, mature adult. We live in a culture that often teaches women to be polite at the expense of their own comfort and safety. If someone is disrespectful to you, you do not owe them a smile, you do not owe them a gentle letdown, and you certainly do not owe them your time. Setting a boundary isn't being rude, it is being honest. If demanding basic respect makes someone else uncomfortable, that is a problem with their behavior, not your response. You're one step closer to becoming your dream woman. Subscribe so you can join our Glow Up team. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, check out our page to see the countless other breakdowns and videos we've uploaded. Like, comment, and turn on post notifications so you never miss when we upload a new video. This is the Mogul Manifesto.